Lesson 282, From Trials to Redemption. How God turns brokenness into beauty. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, being responsible, kind, and faithful, yet life still hit you hard? Have you found yourself wondering, why is this happening to me? Or will this ever get better? If so, you're not alone. But here's the truth. Your trials are not the end of your story. In fact, they may be the very beginning of your redemption. Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. No matter your background, status, or how carefully you've planned your steps, there will be seasons where things just fall apart. You might feel like the weight of the world is pressing in from every angle. And in those moments, it can seem like there's no way out. But what if I told you that the very pressure you're feeling right now is not meant to destroy you, but to transform you? That your trials, as painful as they are, could become the very soil from which your greatest strength and faith are born? This lesson isn't just about surviving hard times. It's about learning how to rise from them. It's about surrendering, not in defeat, but in divine trust, knowing that God redeems, restores, and renews all who turn to Him. At some point in life, whether you're on top of the world or barely hanging on, you will face trials. Things won't always go as you hope. Sometimes you'll feel abandoned, misunderstood, and exhausted, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You may even wonder if God has forgotten you. But the truth is this: while the world can press in on every side, it cannot crush you. The burden may feel unbearable, but it will not break you, because God is still with you. What you need in those moments is not more control, more force, or more striving. What you need is a new mindset, one that lets go instead of holding tighter. Because true strength is not found in trying to manage everything. It's found in surrender. And surrender is not weakness. It's a sacred invitation for God to take the lead. There comes a time when you'll realize you can't do it alone. You might be strong, talented, wise, and surrounded by good people. But even then, human help has its limits. Friends can disappoint. Plans can fail. But God never will. Jesus Himself invites us, saying, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." Matthew 11:28-30. When you surrender to God, you're not giving up, you're giving over. You're handing Him the reins and trusting that He can do more with your situation than you ever could. And it's in that surrender where peace begins to rise. A peace that the world cannot offer. A peace that doesn't depend on your circumstances. Many people assume that life is just unfair and always will be. But that perspective is incomplete. Yes, the world is broken, but we have the opportunity to reconnect with the one who makes all things new. Trials are not just random misfortunes. They are invitations to deeper intimacy with God. Pain has a way of humbling us, and humility draws us closer to our Creator. The more you lean into God in hard times, the more you will learn to value what truly matters. Old burdens begin to loosen their grip. Your perspective shifts, and as your heart becomes aligned with His will, your desires will also change. When you delight in God's purpose for you, He begins to take delight in the desires of your heart. That's where real fulfillment begins. That's where you become whole, resting in the assurance that you shall not want because your shepherd is leading you beside still waters. But be warned, there is one thing that can silently sabotage your healing journey: pride. Pride masks itself as strength, but leaves behind bitterness, isolation, and confusion. It refuses to admit weakness and justifies reckless actions. No matter how powerful or influential you are, pride is a dangerous seed. It can rot even the most fruitful life from within. That's why humility is key. It's better to admit you don't have all the answers than to pretend and cause harm to yourself or others. Paul reminds us of this truth in 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. So Paul says, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. God's strength shines brightest in our weakness. Your story isn't powerful because you were strong the whole time. It's powerful because God carried you when you had nothing left. That is where true transformation begins. Your journey is not just spiritual, it's life itself. Too often, we separate our lives into compartments: spiritual goals, financial goals, emotional health, relationships. But everything in life is deeply connected, and none of it will matter if your soul is out of alignment. This isn't to say we should ignore practical responsibilities, but it's a call to prioritize what's eternal over what's temporary. Ask yourself, where am I drawing my standards from? Is it from influences, from culture, from comparison, from trauma, or is it from God, the one whose word never fails? Everything else will fade away, but the word of God will stand forever. When your identity is rooted in Him, no storm can uproot you. So don't be afraid of what the world fears. Don't panic over tomorrow. Yes, things may be tough now. Yes, the pain is real, but it will not last forever. You are being shaped. You are being refined. Romans 5:3-4 encourages us. We glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. This is not your end. This is your becoming. And even when others don't understand, even when you feel alone, God sees. God is working, and God will finish what He started in you. You are not created to be defeated by life. You were created to overcome it with God. Your trials are not random. They are stepping stones toward your redemption. Your surrender is not weakness, it is power. And your humility is not shame, it is wisdom. God has not abandoned you. He is inviting you into something deeper, stronger, and more beautiful than you ever imagined. Today, take a moment to pause. Reflect. Ask yourself, where am I still trying to control what I should surrender? Where have I allowed pride to take root instead of humility? Let this be the day you shift your mindset. Let this be the moment you invite God to redeem your trial and transform your life. Speak to Him, trust Him, follow Him, and watch as He writes a new chapter in your story, from trials to redemption.